Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today what I want to do is do a breakdown of Lime Green. I'm going to do this in two parts. This is a song I wrote recently, for those who don't know. Check it out on, I guess here, I'll put a card up, or you can just go to the YouTube channel, and you'll find it there. It's called Lime Green. Today I'm going to go over the rhythm section here, and next time I'll go over the guitars. I kind of want to do it separately just because it'll be easier. I don't want this to take too much time. And I especially want to go over a lot of things that are useful to me. So some of the things that are in Melda Production plugins are really nice to have here. I had to redo my drums completely, and Melda was a big help in that sense. Let's get into it. I should probably explain why I did this and what this is like. I've been a big fan of Greg Howe for a long time, and what I wanted to do was create something like that. And I really wanted to show off the M Turbo amp, because I've been making amps for that, and it's like when you make them and you're trying them yourself, sometimes it sounds good, but I want to make sure it sounds good in a song, and I was actually happy with the way the guitars turned out in this, but I'll show you that next time. Let's get into this and let's hear what it sounds like. So here we go. So let's get into that. I'll do the easiest stuff first. Let's start with the bass here. So it sounds like just this on its own. So it's just this, the E bass. I think I showed you a long time ago. I made a video on how I use this. I use this preset, I believe. I probably just turned it down and maybe turned the tone up, but it's not doing anything particularly that interesting. It's just a basic bass sound. It took me a while to figure out this bass line. I had the sound in my head, but I couldn't figure out how it should be placed in the bar. I was doing it, I was turning the beat around and all that kind of stuff, but eventually I got it figured out. And also for this song, I'm using a lot of a swing, it's a shuffle feel, I guess, not a swing feel. And so I had to program that in and figure out how to do that in the DAW, but luckily in Reaper I could do that and adjust the MIDI notes, and I got that sounding the way I wanted it to. For this, after I had the bass sound here, I'm using M Turbo Comp. I'm using the Meldy 1176, just to do a little bit of gain reduction. You hear it's doing a little bit of punching there, and also in some parts you can hear it's it's not quite even. I did say I was using a little bit of compression, but actually using quite a bit. I'm using about 5 to 6 decibels. But this really helps it stand out, in my opinion. So that's why I did that. I wanted a little bit more punchy, but it doesn't need to be too punchy because I have the drums there. And the last thing I used M Turbo EQ. And I didn't do too much here. I just put a boost here at 200. And actually, no, it's 200 and down, so I'm using a low shelf just to boost that up a little bit. Did I do anything else? Yeah, put a little bit of gain here at 420 hertz. And I think that's about it. I didn't really do too much else. I didn't boost any of the high end. It doesn't really have any high end anyway, so it didn't matter. And I cut a little bit under 70, so just a simple high pass filter there, because I didn't want it to interfere with the bass drum, which I have going pretty low on this. Then afterwards, as always, this is a great mixing tool, this M Multi-Analyzer. I should do a video about this, but I spelled clean wrong, so you can make fun of me there. But this shows all my guitar groups together. If I take this off, you can see how they work together here with the spectrum. So you can see I try to keep that blue in there, which is our bass, kind of out of the way. So I have the bass drum, it's hitting a little bit lower, around this 50 mark, and then it's hitting the snare like above, like I think it's starting around like 150 or so and going up into the mid range. But I didn't want anything else in there really like interfering with that. There probably is a few things, but I didn't want to do crazy cuts, but at the same time, I wanted to make a space for the bass. So that's all I did there. Next one, I'll try to go a little bit faster here. Next one is the clav parts. So this one, device I showed you before, this one hasn't even been added, but it will be. I showed you before how to make that clavinet sound, and that's what I have here. It sounds like this. Just a little bit of compression. I have the wah sound on there, nothing really crazy. Hopefully this will be added to Sound Factory sometime in the future, I hope. But that's just the basic sound. I like that, like old Stevie Wonder sounds. I probably could have done more with that, but I just wanted something low that wouldn't really get in the way of the lead, but just give it a little bit of funk in there. And then here, the piano sound. I'll let you hear this from the beginning. Actually, let me go back to the clavinet. I almost forgot. I have the EQ here, and this one I did a little bit of boosting under 400, so that's like the lower mid-range. I boosted up. I cut under 100 because I didn't want it to actually interfere with the bass. And then I added some 4 decibels at 400 and 700. I really wanted those mids to pop out, so that's what I did there. And I also added a compressor, nothing too crazy, another Melody 1176. Sounds like this. And I'm using the compressor just because sometimes that wah sound, it's too dynamic. So I didn't want that wah just sticking out here. So I put 1176 on it, tamed everything, no problem. As I was saying before, have the electric piano here. As always, I use this electric piano. I think probably years ago I showed you how I made this. I use the 70s style preset. Sounds like this. So I'm using the smooth setting. I didn't want anything too crazy here. I just want something kind of in the background, and especially because this is being doubled with actual guitars. And although I like electric piano, for this song, I wanted like the guitars to take, center stage because that's why I made the song, to be honest. So I just kind of have this in the background. I have a little bit of a compressor on it here, and I think I used even more compression later. I don't know. Why did I do that? This one I used MComp here. Yeah, so even though this was programmed by me, sometimes there's times it seemed a little bit too dynamic, so I just put a little bit on there. I'm doing like maybe like 3-4 decibels, not too much. And then coming here, and here I'm doing low pass and high pass filters with Turbo EQ. And this is because I don't want this to get in the way of any of my other guitars or cymbals or bass in this case. So I just moved those down. I boosted the mid-range because that's where I really wanted this to sit. So boost it in 800 hertz, get that mid-range in there, cut off the high end, cut off the low end. I just want it to sit right there in the middle and stay out of the way of the other stuff. I didn't want it to get in the way of my guitars either, but I felt like this was a good place for it. Usually I found like that 800, 900 hertz for guitars kind of annoys me personally. Maybe it's my guitar, I don't know, but I don't like that sound, so I was like, let me put the electric piano in there and then cut that with the guitars. And I thought that might be a little bit better. And actually, I'll let you see on the multi-analyzer. What do I have here for keyboard? Actually, which one is the keyboard? Oh, I'm sorry. Keyboard is probably the clavinet, and the piano is this. So let's look here at what it's doing. So it's pretty much sitting right where I want it to sit, right there, just being in there, not getting in the way of anything. Starting to ramble. Let's get to the next one. So the big thing I have here is the drums. This actually caused me a problem at first. I'll let you hear it, and I'll let you hear what I did. Sounds like this. So here, Mdrummer was kind of a lifesaver. I'll show you my setup. I use this rock off for the preset, but I use a lot of different drums here. So the first time I did this, I finished the song, I mixed it, and I sent it to people. I was like, I put it on the forum. I was like, oh, what do you think of this song? Like, oh, it's great, except for the drums are terrible. You know, the sound is off, the pattern's not good, etc. I'll let you listen to the first version. Because they have this A-B system in Melda, it's actually easy to change. So this is the first one I did. It sounds like this. Listening to it now, I was like, yeah, that is bad. I'll play with the rest of the music so you can hear how it kind of sounds off. Terrible. So I used a completely different drum set that didn't really go with it. It had too much reverb on there. You could barely hear the cymbals. It was too low in volume. And also on top of that, you see this simple pattern? Like that, it wasn't funky at all. That isn't what I needed. Even though I had the shuffle on, you know, that's not doing anything. So then I moved over and I used this one. This one actually has a better drum pattern, but you see I'm using the same kit. It didn't sound right either. That's funkier, but it's still, you know, too far back. So people are like, oh, you got to move it forward. Last one, the one I showed you first, this one I used a different drum kit. It's much, much drier, and I was able to use the same drum pattern. And luckily, because of this, it's easy for me to take the first one, and all I had to do is copy and paste, go in the rhythm generator, and change the drum pattern. I was like, oh, let me change the funkier, the accented, get some funky action in there. And then I'm doing lots of things in here where I'm changing the different drum hits for each one. And I'm using the MIDI control method, you can see here. And this is really easy to change the different velocities here, to change drum patterns, or to choose these. You can see right here, triggered velocity around 64. And that way I can change it up, and it gives it, I don't know, more variety in things in here. I'm not doing it just for variety, I'm also doing it for accent. So if I was using another drum program, this would actually be really difficult, and I'd probably get really annoyed if I had to go back and change everything. But with Mdrummer, it was fairly easy. All I had to do was, okay, change the hi-hats, generate the rhythms, and then go back in here, and okay, I can just change one or two accents. And so it only took me about maybe 5 or 10 minutes to do, whereas normally I'd have to go through every single drum pattern and copy and paste and add the accents to every single one. It would really annoy me. But this way, it was easy. I just put a little shuffle on there, add some humanization, and it was okay. Let me show you the bridge, what I did. Like, here's where it gets even more complicated. Start here. So all these different drum parts would be very annoying if I had to do these by hand. But luckily, with these little loop boxes, I can just choose these easily by using the MIDI control method. And I can also add, you know, some humanization here also. And these breaks are really useful too. I can just choose one that sounds good. And it's really easy to come up with, I usually make a skeleton of the song first, then kind of copy and paste it, and then just alter a few of these boxes to create something new, and it works really well. I'll show you the drum set editor, I'm sorry, the mixer actually. This is new. I don't actually remember this before, the batch modifiers. And so now you see here, we have the bass and snare cymbals. Everything is kind of laid out here how I'd want it, and I can minimize them if I want. And I have the toms here too. But the thing that I really liked is, I don't think we had this before, is the batch modify. So now I can go not only change like the bass drum, snare 1, snare 2. That's okay, but I could modify it here. But what I really like is the toms. It's like sometimes like, oh, just my toms are too loud, and I can pull them down. I think I had to pull these down like 2 decibels. Or I can move the cymbals up or down in volume, which is really, really helpful for me. Or the volume of the snare overheads or close or room mics. I think I did one of those. I think I put the hi-hat up a little bit. But this is really, really useful. I really love that. So there's lots of good things you can do there. And I have a little bit of compression here. Not too much. Played. A little bit of reverb there too, but like I said, not too much. Here I have more compression. I'm using the DB 160. I really like this because this really adds lots of punch to it. Let's hear before and after. You know, kind of takes that low thud, like boom, to pa. I like that, so it cuts through a little bit more. If you want a little bit more cut with your snare, you can do that. The other thing I did here was I just used a little bit here where I cut down in the 257 hertz, and I cut like just a decibel. I'm not doing much at all. And then I put a high shelf on here. Only thing I wanted to do was just make this the high end kind of pop, because I noticed the cymbals were a little bit dull. So let me turn it back here. You can hear the difference. I just wanted to cut a little bit more because I noticed the cymbals were kind of getting lost in the background. This kind of made them pop out a little bit. And that's basically all I did. The other thing is I used the compressor on top of everything. To me, it kind of pushes everything forward a little bit. Another thing I should mention is I use this, was it New York bus here. And this is some parallel compression. So I have the M stressor here is doing a lot of compression. And then I have an equalizer actually going before it, where I'm cutting off the low end and emphasizing the upper mids. So show this on and off. Again, more punch. You don't really need that, but I like that. And I have reverb on there too. Try to be subtle with that. I don't want reverb watching everywhere. But I'll let you hear the whole thing and turn the reverb off so you can hear what it's doing. Now for me, that just kind of opens it up a little bit. It's not doing too much. And I'm using the character room here. Of course, I have it at 100% wet because it's a bus. And that's basically everything. I believe only other thing is I always use mCompare here. I would show you how this is used, and I actually want to do a video on this, but I can't do it now because all these are copyrighted songs and they're going to flag my video if I use it. But I'll try to show it with my own songs in the future so you can see how this works. But this is really, really, really important for checking your songs to make sure that your levels of everything, your reverb levels, your volume levels, etc. are correct. So I use this on every single mix I do. Very, very useful. I hope that answered all your questions about the rhythm section. Next time, it'll probably be more exciting. I'll go over all the guitar stuff, but hopefully this gave you some ideas. If you have any questions about this, let me know down below and I'll try to answer them. And besides that, check out all the other plugins at melderproduction.com. Till next time, see you.